Los Angeles, California. We are the Mad Scientist Party Hour.
Oh, hello there, friends! And welcome back to another episode of Mad Scientist Party Hour. My name is Kevin Kraft. And once again, I am joined by a man whose pants and underwear have flown off his body all on their own and is now getting his boner jacked off by a ghost. That's Chef Clark.
Happy spooky season.
And it's a dude ghost. And transmitting to us from a haunted pumpkin patch, the undead bearded booger eater known as Shuddy Boy.
Yo! Brat, brat.
Oh, yeah. Brat,
What's good,
brat,
fellas?
indeed. It's good to see you, gents. I feel like I just saw you.
I mean, you just saw me.
Yeah. And I just saw Geoff yesterday for recording a Dragon Ball Queef. Fresh off
Yeah, we connected digitally.
getting back from LAX. But yeah, we, myself and Shuddy and a nicely sized crew of others made our way to Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey this weekend for the SModcastle Film Festival thrown by Kevin Smith, which my feature writer slash directorial debut feature, The Second Coming of John Cooper, was an official selection. And as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, right behind Shuddy Boy, one of those sexy-ass fucking posters, which you can get from etsy.com/shop/John Cooper movie.
It is a pretty sexy poster, but it would be sexier if Geoff and I had made it on there as well, since we are also stars of the film.
You guys are in it, because your voice is in it, so your voices are in that poster.
Oh, okay.
They're like right behind Dustin.
Nice. Good save. Good save on Shuddy's ego right there.
By the way, speaking of Dustin, he is going to be on the show next week, the next episode. We're going to record that one on a Tuesday as well. But Dustin is not only just coming to hang with the homies like he usually does, but he's got something he's promoting. His new movie, Stealing Jokes, is hitting VOD on November 1st. So,
I saw a clip that I think he posted on social media.
yeah.
Is that fair? Is that accurate?
Yep. Yeah, and it seems like his character is very close to his character Dubs in The Second Coming of John Cooper. I will be very bummed out if I play a part in typecasting Dustin, but yeah, it looks really good, and it's going to be VOD, so rental / digital purchase on Prime, iTunes, Apple TV, all that stuff.
Now, when does that go live on Friday? Is that a 12:01 a.m.?
Maybe.
Is it something that I would be able to... I mean, I might watch this on my flight to Dallas.
I mean, fingers crossed. I hope
Or
it's
I'll have to
it's
just
ready at
remember-
midnight.
Or we can do a family viewing at the Airbnb of it Friday night.
Yeah. Hey, the more eyes, the better. Stealing Jokes with MSPH's very own Dustin Ibarra, who is also a breakout star in The Second Coming of John Cooper. So the festival officially kicked off on Thursday night, and obviously, tons of people can't make it on a work night. And the festivities included a screening of Clerks for the 30th anniversary. There were two short films that showed before it. One of them had a cameo from Kevin Smith in the beginning. That one was called Holy Smokes. And then there was one called, I think it's like We Never Smiled in the 90s, which was, they shot Clerks on physical media, on film. And, when you're on set and you're about to do a take, the director calls, roll camera, roll sound, and those heads and tails get trimmed off. Like once, the slate comes out, and then when the director calls cut, there's a little tail at the end as well. So they spliced a shitload of the heads and tails that they found in a garbage bag in the basement of Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash and made like a 5-minute silent film with just all the heads and tails of like stuff that, Kevin Smith hasn't even seen since when they were on set shooting Clerks. So that was kind of neat. But the things kicked off with the director of the festival is Ernie O'Donnell, who Kevin Smith diehard fans might know as Rick Derris from Clerks. And so he came out and said a few words, and then he was like, and I'm going to introduce somebody who's very special, someone who's very important, and it ended up being, I think, the film commissioner of New Jersey. So that guy came out, said a few words, and then Ernie took the mic, and he was like, all right, now, before, we see any of the tonight's scheduled program, I got a video to play from the big guy, and it'll all make sense once the video's over. So a video of Kevin Smith filming himself starts playing on the big screen, and he talks about how he was at a comic book convention, well, the first ever Chronicon, which was just a fictional thing in Kevin Smith movies, and he made it an actual real convention in Chicago. So the first year of that, then New York Comic Con, and then he got COVID. So he was like, I will not be at the festival at all this weekend. Yeah. I'm home in LA recovering. And I feel like I have to take responsibility here and apologize for everybody else involved in the festival because, as we all know, if the second coming of John Cooper was not in this festival, he would not have gotten COVID and he would have been there for everybody else. So this one's on me. I apologize, everybody.
Do you want to know? So Ginger and I were trying to figure out how we could get in contact with the big guy. And we had decided to reach out to him through Cameo. And we weren't going to get a Cameo. His cameos are $500.
Woo!
Wow. But you could message him for 10. So Ginger and I talked about this on like Monday, and I farted around until Wednesday because all of his posts about the film festival, there was nothing that made it seem 100% concrete that he was going to be there. I'm like, what if he's not even going to be there? And Ginger's like, Kevin's worried about the Kevin Kraft luck. I was like, so I waited till Wednesday to send him a message telling him that he should really check out the second coming of John Cooper, and didn't hear anything back from him. And then Ginger messaged me on the way on Friday that he got COVID and wasn't going to be there. So our fear of the Kraft curse, spelled with a K, of course, the Kevin Kraft curse.
It's a more reliable constant than gravity. There is no more unbreakable rule in the universe that I will just fucking epically fall flat on my face at any given opportunity.
But is that fully still alive?
That's true.
He's still alive.
At least I didn't kill him. But yeah, that was just. I was so excited because I was like, the screening of Clerks, the 30th anniversary screening of Clerks, also came with admission to the Filmmaker mixer afterwards. So you just kind of schmooze, and I was like, all right, well, this could be like a good opportunity to get a little bit of FaceTime with him. I've met Kevin, a bunch of times. He was on the Ella show, and we talked a lot, in the green room afterwards. I'm not expecting him to see me and recognize me, but if I was like, hey, I used to work on the Ella show, and we were talking, I feel like I'd have better odds of him being like, oh, yeah. And like, and now I'm a filmmaker, and I got my film in your festival, and it's fucking awesome. And Yeah, that was that. I because even Carl was like, you know how things go for you. So remember, just try to keep expectations low. And I was like,
She's pretty much like, oh man, I'm forgetting her name, but Clark Griswold's wife. Like,
yes,
Sparky, we all know how you like to get your hopes up.
it's dude. That is 100% what it is. Because like, when we first started dating, she's like, yeah, whatever. You got bad luck. Yeah. So does everybody. And then when she saw it in action, like now 3.5 years later, she's like, that is no fucking joke. Like, I've never seen the shit that happens to you happen to anybody else. So like, she was like, just manage your expectations for this trip, And I was like, I feel like it's not too much to ask the universe that at Kevin Smith's own film festival to just get like a little FaceTime with him at the Filmmaker mixer. I don't think that's aiming too high, but it was. Of course, it was.
Yeah, the guy was ducking you.
But so dude, even just getting into it. So like we get to the theater, and they said for everything, it's an old school theater. You buy a ticket and then you get there and you find a seat. You don't reserve your seat. You don't pick it from a map when you're buying it. So everything was like, get here early so you can get a good seat.
And when Kevin says it's an old school theater, it is an old school theater. Like, the floor is barely sloped, and it's those really tight wooden chairs.
Yeah, it's
fucking rad.
I used to go there
as a time capsule.
Yeah, I used to go there as a kid, and it is still very, very similar.
Like, it was like walking into, like, it just sparked memories of going to the movie theater as a kid.
Oh yeah, and if you're a Kevin Smith fan, there's like, everything on the walls. The walls are covered in like promo pieces, posters, foreign posters for Kevin Smith movies, Kevin Smith memorabilia, costumes from his movies. They even have like their certificates from when his movies would get into con, like the framed certificates hanging on the wall, which was really cool. It's a cool fucking theater. It really is.
Nachos were just okay.
Oh my God, Shuddy. So my family came up, and it was me and, I talked about this. My mom, my stepdad, me, Carl, and my grandma. And she was kind of like a last minute addition to the early festivities. So I had to buy an extra ticket for her to get into Clerks. And I'm just like, you realize you're about to see one of the filthiest movies ever made. She's like, I can handle it. I've heard everything. And I gave her a little bit of a warning before the premiere of John Cooper, too. I'm like, you're going to hear some pretty nasty jokes, and I know that I wrote them, so just fair warning. And afterwards, she was like, yep, it was a little naughty, but I think some of the jokes went over my head, that I didn't understand them. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't a movie. There's some jokes in there that are going to go over 86-year-olds' heads. So after Clerks, she was like, I went up to her, so what'd you think? And she goes, I understood all of those jokes. I was like, I knew you would. There's no real beating around the bush.
That's because when those came out, Nana was in her 50s, so she was still young.
Yeah.
Like, she was still hearing jokes like that.
And there's no real, like, slang of the time in it. Like, all those dirty jokes are just evergreen. I mean, Randall on the phone with the video distributor and ordering, like, 17 pornos with, like, big black cocks with pearly white cum, all holes filled with hard cock, my cunt Nate shafts. I'm just sitting there like, oh, this is rough. Oh, my God. Randall talking about the jizz mopper, the old guy dying, jacking off in the bathroom. It's just filthy scene after filthy scene after filthy scene. My girlfriend sucked 47 dicks. Oh, yeah, that's Snowball. He likes to get cum spit back in his mouth after a blowjob. I was just like,
Listen, you know what? I have seen Clerks so many times and never, like, thought of it as a filthy movie, but hearing all that stuff in rapid succession, I can understand why that would be difficult with Nana. That's tantamount to watching Bruno with Joy Joy and your mom.
Oh, but that conversation came up. That story came up when Bruno's like penis aims at the screen and the pee hole talks, and my grandpa was like,
Yep.
"That's it. I will be waiting outside in the lobby," and just got out and left the theater. So as we get to the theater, and it's like 6:20, and the movie started at 6:30. So we got there a little later than I wanted to because I wanted us all to be able to sit together. I didn't know how crowded it was going to be, and there were these people checking in at the front counter, and then they started kind of BSing with the guy behind the counter, and it just keeps going and going and going.
I love this story.
And then it looked like it was about to wrap up, and then they just started a whole new conversation, and my mom just goes, "Oh, come on!" And everybody in line, including the people behind the counter, all just stopped and turned and looked at her, and I was like, "Mom, please shut the fuck up. Please." Like, we've been in we've been on the premises. We've been on the SModcastle theater property for like 3 minutes, and you've already fucking just like absolutely mortified me.
At the after showing lunch, Helen was enjoying her beverages and accused Kevin of always being embarrassed by her. And Kevin's like, I'm usually not embarrassed by you, but there was this one time, and he starts telling this story. And I was like, wait, last night was like the first time she really embarrassed you? Because like, she's like, you're embarrassed by me. And he goes, not until last night.
My mom usually isn't embarrassed. I have no qualms about being a mama's boy. Like, if anybody wants to rip on me for it, there's like, that's the longest way to get under my skin. That doesn't like bother me in the slightest. I love my mom. I've never been like, ew, mom, don't hug me in public. You can make me seem less cool.
You mean my mom will do anything I ask her to do? Oh, that's so fucking terrible.
Yeah.
She's always there when I need her? Oh, no.
Exactly.
I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole. I get it. I'm a mama's boy, too. I'm not afraid of it either.
But my mom also has fucking hearing problems, and she thinks when she whispers or talks, it's almost like a 5-year-old. Like, if I don't want somebody to hear me, they're not going to hear me. She is the loudest fucking person I've ever... Like, she'll just, like, point people out and be like talking shit on somebody who's, like, 3 feet away. And she's whispering at the volume of a normal person's shout. And I have to tell her this constantly. I'm like, Mom, you are the least slick person on earth. Like, I even told her, I'm like, say absolutely fucking nothing about any projects we see. I'm like, if we're watching something and a short is playing before it and you don't like it, keep it to your fucking self, because odds are somebody who created that, worked on it, directed it, is within earshot. And as long as if they're in the same zip code, they are within earshot of you. I was like, so please keep it all internal. And then oh, come on, while we're waiting in line. And I was just like, I'm already fucking doomed. I'm already doomed. Haven't even checked in yet. But
I mean, she be, I don't want to say it like this, but she behaved during the shorts that showed before John Cooper.
Yeah, I'm hoping everybody in my family was very polite and cordial. But the obviously Clerks ends, and it's like off to the Filmmaker mixer, and it's just like, what am I even doing? Like, I'm a pretty awkward guy. Like, I'm not very good at just walking up to a perfect fucking stranger and starting a conversation from nothing. And
you're not good at mixing.
I think when people look at me, they see that is the most annoying face I've ever seen in my life, and I'll do anything I can to avoid starting a conversation with that guy. Like, I've never made a friend of, like, any of my neighbors. Because, like, I walk by and no one says a fucking word to me. Everybody says hi to Carl. No one will even fucking look at me in the halls.
I wish
you
I
have
could
a very
somehow...
friendly face, dude.
Yeah, I don't get it, because I'm the opposite. I mean, not the opposite, people always, when I'm out, want to have conversations with me, and I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I
I'll talk to whoever. Come on to me, baby.
I
I
mean
got a
I'll
great podcast to tell you about. It's
I'll
called
I'll talk to people.
Outkick Bets.
Hey, you want to lose your life savings?
I really like the four horse in the Breeders' Cup this weekend. Forever Young from Japan.
So yeah, we went to the filmmaker mixer, and I was just standing there picking my ass. No one really wanted to talk to me. And then I see this couple who have, the wristband, and I'm just like, all right, well, they're sitting in our proximity. I'll just be like, hey, what's up? You guys got a project in the festival? And they're like, no, we just wanted to come and see Clerks. And then I ended
Hello,
up
fellow kids. Do you do movies too?
I ended up, it was like this couple, and I ended up spending pretty much the entire mixer talking to them. And they were really nice. They were really nice people. They were really cool. I enjoyed bullshitting with them, but I did not mix with any filmmakers, and Kevin Smith wasn't there, so sort of just left, went back to my aunt's house who lives in Atlantic Highlands, and smoked some weed, played some Mario Party, and then I guess that brings us to Friday. So Friday, I kind of just figured since Thursday kicked things off, Friday there would be screenings all day Friday. But it makes sense that there weren't, because it is still a work day. So they didn't want to screw anybody over and be like, hey, your movie's playing Friday at noon. And it's like, well, shit, nobody can come to it because everybody's at work. So the screening started at 6 p.m. And there were quite a few things that I wanted to check out in that block, because, they have 5 screens at the theater. So they're showing multiple things at the same time. And the one that ended up winning that I went to with Carl and Ginger flew in from Chicago and crashed with us at my aunt's place, and we ended up deciding that this documentary called The House From was going to be our pick. And holy shit, it was fucking awesome. It was narrated by Jason Lee, and the whole thing is about famous houses from movies, like iconic houses. So they went around and interviewed all the people that live there, people that have lived there in the past, and every person was kind of different. Like the woman who lives in Michael Myers' house in Pasadena, she leaves out fake pumpkins all year on her porch with like a sign saying like, hey, take a prop, pose, you can pose for a picture like Laurie Strode in Halloween, and sit on this post and hold a pumpkin. Just, please be respectful, put the pumpkin back. And she's like, yeah, I love that people come to my house and take selfies in front of it. And she's got like a scrapbook full of fan mail and stuff that people have sent in. And then they talk about Walter White's house from Breaking Bad, where the woman who lives there is fucking furious with how popular her house is. She built a fence around it, and basically it seems like all she does is spends 24 hours a day sitting on her front porch yelling at anybody that gets within like 2 blocks of the house.
At that point, why don't you just sell? Because it being that popular, its value has to be more than what it should be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's that big of, like, I understand it's like the old guy in Better Call Saul who doesn't want to sell his little piece of leased land. I get that, but at some point, don't you just cash out for your sanity and for the extra bucks?
You'd think. I mean, I'm sure she got some pretty fat paychecks from AMC. Because I know somebody who had their house used in like for Veep, and I think he got like 5 figures and got put up in a fancy hotel for every day they were shooting. So it's pretty lucrative. You can get some serious fucking cash, but you also just never know what's going to become iconic. So like the people that live in the McAllister house from Home Alone, like they were of the mind of like, yeah, it was really fucking cool living here when they shot the movie. And then, once social media and the internet sort of boomed and everybody could find addresses and people are seeing like, oh, I just went to the Home Alone house, and like, oh, well, I'm going to go now too. They were like, it was kind of cool, all these people coming and taking selfies. And they talked to the people that lived across the street, this old couple who still live there, and they busted out their camcorder, and they're like, yeah, when they were filming, we were like, oh, this is so cool. They're filming like a major movie across the street. So they were filming with their fucking camcorder. Like, they got, when the wet bandits go from the treehouse and they like Tarzan swing into the side of the house, they were like filming that from across the street on their camcorder. So they used a whole bunch of footage from that. They covered like this crazy saga with the Goonies house. It was fucking fascinating. Like, if you're a film nerd, awesome.
Worth the rent?
100%.
Because it is available everywhere.
Yeah, it just came out. Like, I think because it's screened on Friday, and I think Saturday it hit VOD. So if any of that sounds interesting, there's so much more stuff that I'm not even mentioning. If you like movies and TV, even a little bit, I think you'll find it fascinating. It was a 4.5 dicker, easily. Really funny. Lots of information. I mean, the stuff about A Christmas Story is wild. Wild. I saw the description, and I'm like, this seems like a documentary I could get into. And then while I was watching it, I was like, man, they cover this is way more extensive. I never thought that they would have found this amount of gold talking to all these people. So I highly recommend that. That one you can check out now on VOD. It is kind of a bummer that I'm sure they tried to do the same thing I'm doing and get, sold to a streamer or picked up by something, but they're just going we'll get our budget back, rental by rental route. But and then okay, let's see what else. Busy weekend. Sorry, I'm even going through my notes, and I'm like, shit, I didn't even put everything down in here. Well, I guess that takes us to Saturday, the big day. And man, how
big was your turnout?
It was pretty big.
The biggest. He has the biggest crowds.
That may be true, because based on what I saw from the other screenings I went to, we did have a fuckload of people. And crazy enough, they showed it in screen 1, which is where they showed Clerks on Thursday. And when Ernie O'Donnell was talking to the crowd, he also mentioned, he was like, yeah, if anybody's seen Kevin's new movie, the 4:30 movie, the whole thing was filmed in this theater, in this cinema, and a majority, like a whole lot of scenes were filmed in this actual screening room. So like where you guys are sitting right now was a set in 4:30 movie. And then when I saw John Cooper was playing in that same theater, I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. I like that.
That's pretty sweet.
I was a little worried that it was gonna sell out before like all my family and stuff could get tickets and decide if they were able to make it or not. So I kind of held off on publicly promoting it. And then when I actually got in there, I was like, this is a lot of fucking seats. I don't know that many people in Jersey. But some Puminati made it out. Bill Jackson, who does all of our photoshops.
Oh, for sure.
He was there. Got to meet him and his lady. They were cool as fuck. And I was, again, I talked about this when at the premiere, I was so fucking nervous that I was like sweating through my suit, and my Apple Watch kept going off, telling that my heart rate was abnormally high. And I kind of figured that, I've seen this movie so many fucking times now, and it's a friendly room and mostly friends and family. I'll be fine. They showed a couple shorts beforehand, and I was sweating my ass off through both of them.
I sat next to Kevin for this viewing, and the tension that was emanating from him, it was It was fucking noticeable. But after the shorts and when the first joke in John Cooper landed with everybody, like he very noticeably like relaxed a little bit. Like he very and the first short was excellent.
Yeah,
I
it was like
liked
a
the first
horror
short a lot.
a horror short. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
What did your mom think about that?
It fucking scared the shit out of her. And I also,
I want
'cause
to get her review. I wish I was there to get her reviews on everything.
I mean, it had a pretty good jump scare, and I knew they were setting one up. I'm like, oh man, I hope my nana doesn't have a fucking heart attack. She's not the type of lady that I want to sneak up behind and go, "Hey!" and scare the shit out of her for a laugh. But she made it. She made it through her second viewing of John Cooper. But it was cool. Like, so many people came out from like different friend groups. You know, Shuddy and the Bethlehem crew came. Miguel and the Havertown crew came. I hadn't seen them, some of them, in probably close to 15 years. I think it's been 10 since I saw Miguel in person. So that was fucking awesome.
I saw a picture with him. It was good seeing him in the mix.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was I wish that whole thing was extended for the entire weekend, because, you know, some people had to go right after the screening and head back because they had, you know, like kids, sitters, whatnot.
They're grown-ups.
It's, you know, it's the weekend right before Halloween, so everybody had like stuff to do with their kids. So a decent amount of people peeled off, and then everybody else went to Harborside Grill. So we went there and took over a few big tables and got some drinks and food, and, you know, one by one people started peeling off after that. So it was overwhelming having so many people in my life there that I wanted to get FaceTime with, but, you know, it was hectic and quick, so a little bit of a bummer. But I mean, the amount of people, my aunt flew out with her boyfriend from Florida, you know, Ginger flew in from Chicago, my dad's side of the family was there, my mom's side of the family was there. It was a nice fucking crew.
Blaine drove out from Pittsburgh. Where did that first Puminati that we met outside the theater? Do you remember how he drove like 6 hours?
He had a hike, yeah. Yeah, people really made the trek.
It took Bill Jackson, I think, 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, man.
From where he is on Long Island.
Well, shit. I hope the drive was worth it. I hope you didn't just sit through the movie and be like, oh, God, I fucking drove 4 hours for this.
Everybody fucking loved it again, Kevin. Stop it.
It did seem to get a pretty good response.
There's no way. It is just, you know, there's, you know, some funny business at play, because there's no way that there were that many films at that festival that were better than John Cooper. That should have been nominated. They just couldn't find a spot to nominate it, I guess. Or there was nepotism or something.
Yeah.
Love that, nepotism.
In all honesty, maybe I shouldn't publicly say this, but I kind of avoided seeing any of the other films that got nominated, because if I was like objectively like, oh my God, John Cooper is, I can see the flaws for what they are, but I know for a fact it's better than this. I would just be so bummed out. So I didn't even bother doing that to my neurotic
That wouldn't
self.
be vindicating, then, that you knew that no matter what you did, it was, I feel like it would have the reverse effect.
No,
like if you watched something and you didn't think it was as good as John Cooper, you'd be like, okay, well, there's definitely something that's not about the movie going on.
No, because it again, this is not the coolest thing to admit, but damn it, I wanted one of those trophies so bad. God, I wanted a golden movie. I would probably like find a way to attach a lanyard to it, and I would wear it around my neck at all times while I'm at home.
Flavor Flav it with your golden movie.
Like Carl and I would be on the couch and put a movie on, and she'd look over and she'd be like, "Are you just staring at your golden movie and not watching what's on TV?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I can't take my eyes off this fucking thing."
Why is your hand down your pants?
Like
They itch.
I wanted that statue so bad, so bad. And I was legitimately crushed when I looked at the page and saw the nominations and John Cooper got nothing. Like, I'm not kidding when I was in a dark fucking place for 24 hours. Carl was just like, I don't even know if I should talk to him at this point. Like, to even try and talk him out of this, because I was just like, I'm a fucking talentless piece of shit. But
Jeez,
yeah,
buddy.
I snapped out of it. But I couldn't bring myself just in case. I was like, well, damn it. I really did legitimately feel like I deserved to at least get a nod if I saw something and I was like, come on, this. Because I can sometimes be a catty little bitch. I try to keep it to myself. But
There's nothing wrong with that.
I was, while we were watching this for, the second time in a theater, I was still a little in my own head. And, but I talked to some of the other people that came to the premiere, like my mom, my grandma, my stepdad, a couple other people, and they were like, I feel like this got more laughs here than it did at the premiere. But I was just like, I'll take your word for it, because it was such a blur for me. I
got a lot of laughs at the premiere, but I agree with that, because these were people who didn't know the film. You're not going to get as many laughs from people who worked on the film or watched it as many fucking times as you and the editors did.
Yeah, I guess that's
They were
true.
definitely a lot louder laughs in this theater.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it went
start to finish.
It went well. I was pretty pumped. It puffed me up a little bit after I got deflated by getting frozen out of nominations, but it felt good. And then, my stepmom came up to me afterwards and gave me a big hug, and she was like, "Dad, that was so funny. That was so funny." And I know if your dad was here, he would have been laughing nonstop through that whole thing. And like pretty much everybody on my dad's side of the family, like when they came up and hugged me afterwards, said the same exact thing in my ear. They're like, "Man, your dad would have fucking loved that."
What did Mimi say?
She didn't say a single thing about it. She just gave me a hug.
Who's Mimi?
My grandma.
On his dad's side. Not Nana.
She does not like that kind of humor. So I knew. I didn't even. I'm like, on the way in, I'm like, I apologize in advance. You're not going to like this. This is not going to be your speed. But, I could picture my dad sitting in the back of the theater laughing, doing like a Robert De Niro fucking Cape Fear laugh through it. It was his, I got my sense of humor from somewhere, and it was him with all of his infantile, lowbrow jokes.
I mean, it's fucking great.
Shit and dick jokes. Shit and dick jokes.
He wasn't so much of a shit. I think I put more emphasis on shits and farts. But my dad got it started. He pulled the cord. And I sort of adapted poop and fart. So yeah, the screening went really well. After party was awesome. And then, so that was Saturday. Sunday, the last day of the film festival, Carl and I slept in a little bit. And my cousin, Maggie, she opened a wellness center 2 blocks from the theater in Atlantic Highlands. And at first I thought she opened a dispensary because it looks very dispensary-ish. And I was like,
that would have
shit,
been sweet.
Can I buy weed off you? And she's like, it's not that kind of place.
Real quick, just to go back to John Cooper for a second. I just went down the rabbit hole on Letterboxd and saw the tremendously long review that Mark Rooster wrote. And he has a whole paragraph dedicated to how funny
Don't blow the joke. Don't blow the joke.
Don't blow the joke?
No,
okay.
I've intentionally kept like images of that off social media because I didn't want to blow that one before people see it.
Okay. Like he is fucking. He apparently lost his mind over that particular joke right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I saw that, and then like in that paragraph, he was like, it was like minutes later, and I still had to cover my mouth because I was still laughing at that one part. I actually did have a couple people come up to me afterwards, and they're like, "I want to watch it again because I missed jokes because I was still laughing so hard at the first one." Another one came rapid fire after it, and I didn't even get to hear it because I was too busy laughing. I was like, "Well, shit, that makes me feel really good."
Yeah, buddy, it's a fucking great movie.
Well, thank you, Shuddy.
Yeah,
Speaking
dude,
of,
I fucking love it, and I told everyone who asked about it, it's fucking awesome. Hope
thanks, man.
they can see it, and I think they will.
Well, somebody. Okay, so I tried to get a little bit more concrete information before the show started, but it's just I wasn't able to. Apparently, there was a film critic in the audience, and somehow, just by weird happenstance, that reviewer is friends with somebody who knows my cousin on like my stepdad's side. So like her friend reached out to her and was like asking about the screening, and then was like, "Hey, my friend who does reviews for a magazine told me that he was in the theater and loved it, and I guess there's a write-up coming." But I haven't been able to find out which magazine or anything. So who knows? It could be somebody who was at a completely fucking different festival, and just through telephone wires got crossed and someone thought he was in the seat for John Cooper. But apparently there was a critic there who loved it. So of course,
That's awesome, dude.
If that gets published and it's out there, I'm going to be on social media sucking my own dick. Be like, look, someone said something nice about me.
If that's published and out there, Geoff will suck your dick.
Oh, thanks, Geoff.
You were getting your dick sucked one or the other, I think, is the message Shuddy's trying to convey. I'm going to try to not, but, you know.
Well, is it okay if I suck your dick with my asshole?
That's way less gay.
But yeah. So yeah, my cousin's wellness center place. It's got, you can get IVs, like if you're hungover. Apparently they got an IV that will just clear it up, kind of like those places in Vegas. Like B12 shots, wellness shots, all that kind of stuff. And she also has a cold plunge. So,
fuck yeah.
She bought a whole bunch of tickets
video, by the way,
and did a giveaway through like a contest through her business. And then I was like, "Oh, thank you. That was so nice of you." And she's like, "Yeah, and you can return the favor by going in a cold plunge and letting me film it." And I was like, "Oh, say what now?" I was like, "Well, hold on. That's fair. That is not an equivalent quid pro quo. You got to just watch a movie. You didn't have to go through anything painful." I mean, depending on what you thought about the movie, but she swears she loved it.
Don't respond to that.
But I was like, this isn't fair. You just got to go have a day out and watch a movie. I have to fucking get in Arctic water? That does not seem like a fair trade. And I kind of thought she was just like joking or like ribbing me, but
then she called you a pussy, huh?
She did call me a pussy a whole bunch of times. And then I was just like, you know what? When I worked for Ellis, when he got in it, it was like everything. Like I'm hungry. But like, oh, well, why don't you celebrate being hungry by going in the cold plunge? Like everything. Like it was all he thought about. Go in the cold plunge. You should do the cold plunge. Oh, you have a headache? Go in the cold plunge. And I was just like, I do not want to. When I was a kid, I fell through the fucking ice of 2 separate ponds. I hate cold water. I hate it. But when it comes to family, my cousin, she just opened this business. She just started it. And she's like, you got a following. It would help me out. It would help get the word out. And I'm like, I can't turn that down. I got to step up and have my family's back. So I was like, you know what? You found the right angle. I'll fucking do it. So I'm thinking, Sunday they only had 2 showings at the festival. There was like a noon or a 12:30 block, and then a 3 or a 3:30 block. And then after that, it was all like award stuff and after party. So I was like, shit, I didn't get to watch anything other than John Cooper on Saturday because too many friends and family hanging out, and no way in hell after like not seeing some people for 15 years. And we were like, well, thanks for coming out, but fuck off. I'm going to go watch a movie. So I spent all of Saturday just hanging out with people. And then Sunday, I was like, all right, maybe we can just have like a little bit of a marathon day. We'll catch 2 showings. But Carl and I slept in. My cousin was up my ass about doing this thing. So we go there, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe there'll be enough time. It is only 2 blocks away from the theater. It's called RX Relief, by the way, if anybody lives in Jersey and wants to check it out. We get there, and the cold plunge room has multiple things going on. So I was like, there's too many science words in here, so text me a rundown of what I did, and that's how I'll report back on it. So apparently I did a Juve Red near infrared, which
baby,
I thought it was an Iron Maiden, but apparently it's just an obelisk that has a whole bunch of infrared light bulbs in it. And you stand in front of it and face it for 5 or 10 minutes or something, and then you turn around and it gets your back for the same amount of time. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is this? And she's like, oh, well, this light can penetrate skin, muscle, and bone, and it gets the toxins out or something. I was like, okay, let's get rid of some of these toxins. I eat a lot of candy, and that thing was wild. So like, she put sunglasses on me because she's like, it's really bright and can, you don't want to stare into these fucking bulbs or anything. And she's like, you know what? You can even close your eyes if you want. And when I closed my eyes, it was like I was standing in the path of an oncoming train. For some reason, it was like a billion times brighter when I closed my eyes. So I was like, all right, well, I'm leaving my eyes open and I'm just going to look straight down. And then once I got finished with that, she put me in a sauna fitness pod, which is also infrared. I think that one is far infrared. So both of those things one did a near, one did a far. So that fucking thing.
Near, far, wherever you are.
The hell does the sauna fitness pod do?
It essentially looks like an Instant Pot or something. It looks like a cooker, like a chicken cooker. So
well,
it's like
on their website looking at it, and I trying to figure out what exactly.
Well, I'll tell you, Shuddy. Yeah, that's
so
the thing.
Explain what we're looking at, because I don't get it.
That thing is like a clamshell. So you get in there, and the lid comes down, and just your head is sticking out. And that thing apparently cooks you. So that thing just heats up like an air fryer.
What are you supposed to be doing? Like using these strap things?
I don't know what those are. I didn't see those. Because it's like, for sanitation reasons, she puts down these, sheets that you lay on. So like my feet didn't go into anything like that. But that thing, so she was kind of like explaining it to me before I got into all this shit. And she was like showing me the controls on it. And it starts at low and then goes to normal. And I was like, all right, normal seems like a good thing for me. And then she's like, and then it goes to high. And then it goes one more above that. Like, oh, fuck, I completely forget what it was called. But it was like super intense. Like it went from red on high to black on this. And then she found one above that goes even hotter, which was like super high intensity. She put me on the max. So apparently it heats you up to 192 degrees.
Jesus.
And I was in there for 20 minutes, I think. So it felt like my chest and stomach were on the surface of the sun. My penis felt like one of those hot dogs on the roller at 7-Eleven. Like my dick was hot.
They're not very hot, though.
Like, oh, my dick was hot. It was a hot dick. It was like flip back, laying on my stomach, and my penis was like burning my stomach. I thought it was gonna like melt my pee hole shut. But apparently, if you do those two things, you do the infrared and then you go in the heat thing and get all cooked up, it like your body starts like releasing some of the bullshit in it, and it like loosens you up. And then she's like, and then you go from that and you hop in the cold plunge. And I was like, And if you saw,
dude, that's like an old Oriental holistic therapy. Russians too, which is part of Asia. They've had it for thousands of years, Shuddy. Don't shake your head. I talked to a guy.
Just the word. Just the word.
Oh. Russian?
Yeah, that's the one, Geoff. That's the one.
Yeah, you're supposed to call them Ruskies now.
Fucking Sputniks.
So she's like, if you see in the video, I'm like kind of like bracing myself, and you kind of just like let yourself go and fall in all at once, because if you have to like get in like it's a jacuzzi, of course I'm gonna pussy out. So she was kind of showing me the way you get in there and just like let yourself go, so you just drop right in. And I was like, so when we got in there was this woman sitting in the massage chair. So after you do the cold plunge, you dry off and you sit in this like really high-tech Japanese massage chair that it's like lymphatic or something, I think she said it was. But that was awesome. And man, it really gets the butt cheeks. You get like P. Diddy'd when you're sitting in that chair, but it feels kind of nice. Like really, really squeezing the shit out of your butt cheeks, and then it gives you like a quick credit card to make sure you're awake. You're like, oh, whoa, what was that? And then it's like, just kidding, buddy. I'm going back to rubbing your butt cheeks. Let's see. Yes, lymphatic massage chair. So I'm like, she was like this. There was a woman in the massage chair when we got there, so we had to kind of like keep our voices down. But she was like, she was a first timer. She just did everything in the cold plunge room, and then went into the massage chair afterwards. And she was like, the average first timer going in the cold plunge lasts about 13 seconds, and then they bail and jump out. My cousin, Maggie, does this 7 days a week. And she usually goes in for like 5.5 minutes. My cousin, Christian, apparently he's got the record. He's done over 10 minutes in it. But I was like, you know what? I have to do at least a minute. I got to do a minute. But like I said, I fucking hate the cold. I abso-fucking-lutely hate it. So
I didn't realize that you went from the sauna right into it when I saw the video.
Yeah, I was like,
I thought you were being a scotch dramatic when I watched.
Well, I was asking, I'm like, isn't this like the definition of hypothermia? Like, she's like, no, you're fine. And I was like, all right, you guys and your hippie shit. So I get ready. And she's there. Like the last bit of advice they gave me was, when you get in there, hold still, because the water temperature is like 40 degrees, and when you get in there, obviously your body is way warmer than that. So if you hold still, your body builds over like a little bit of time a bit of a hypothermic barrier. So if you hold still, you'll get that barrier, and it'll make it a little bit more bearable. So I get in. Fucking so cold it's painful, and I'm doing my best to hold still, and I'm holding still, but my left foot was kind of out, bracing myself with the heel. My ass was on the bottom of the tub, and then my right leg was kind of bent in and tucked. So I'm pretty much just holding myself up with my left foot. About 40 seconds in, my heel slips. So like I moved. I blew the warm barrier or whatever that I was supposedly building up, and it felt like jumping back in all over again. And I was just like, yeah, I fucking, oh! And watching the timer, there's a timer right in front of you, and I'm like, come on, minute. Come on. The second it got to a minute, I hopped out of that motherfucker. And like my toes, my feet, my legs were in so much pain. Obviously, get 5 minutes later and everything kind of thaws and you're all better. But holy shit. I mean, I can see how that, it does wake you up, makes you a little bit more alert. They say it's really good for people with ADHD. And I guess the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But I couldn't imagine bringing myself to do that every day. Like, I even asked her, I'm like, so if you do this every single day of your life, is it just, like having your morning coffee? Do you just hop in and sit there and relax? And she's like, no, I still have to like pump myself up before dropping into the cold water. And I was like, I'm not trying to undermine your business, but if people like cold plunges, why don't they just turn their bathtub water on and only turn the cold knob? And she was like, that water coming out, the coldest you can get your tub is like in the 50s. And this has to be like 40 or lower. And I was like, oh my God, that's so much. That's so gnarly. Would you guys ever do a cold plunge?
Yeah, actually I would. For like, there's been a few occasions where I've went from the sauna to like an ice cold shower, or a shower at the coldest setting.
Yeah.
Which definitely isn't as gnarly as a cold plunge, but I would still do it. Would I do it consistently, or would I make it a thing? I highly doubt that.
Yeah,
but
it would depend on how that first time went.
It was tough.
You can buy inflatable cold plunge tubs now.
Man, I do see the benefit of it. You do feel alive when you get out. Like those old fuckers that are doing those, like the Polar Bear Club. Those old blue hairs that are fucking jumping in the bay in the middle of the winter in Jersey. But, I mean, it was pretty cool. I'll give her that. Her facility looks really, really fucking cool. So if anybody in Jersey wants to try this out, RX Relief. Leaf spelled like, a leaf. LEAF.
Did she explain why that is? Because I would also think it has something to do with cannabis.
I think they have a lot of CBD treatments and stuff. Like, there's all different things you could, like, it's not just cold plunge. There's so many things you can do there with, like, between the shots, and there's a hyperbaric chamber you can get into. So all these different things you can check out. So, tell her MSPH sent you. Christ, that was fucking cold. It was like, I was expecting to be cold, and I'm like, that's like painful cold. Like the times that I fell through a lake when I was a little kid, my fucking buddy, like the house that I grew up in was in this condo development in Jersey that was right next to a golf course. So me and my buddies used to just sneak onto the golf course all the time and like harass the golfers, and we pissed in the ball washer and drew dicks in the sand traps and stuff. And in the winter, obviously it's closed, and when it would snow, we would just go and just have adventures on the big open golf course, and went out on the pond. And me and my buddy were out there, and I'm like, man, we should stay clear of this area. This ice looks really thin. And my buddy just goes, and just starts jumping up and down. His ass falls through the ice. While trying to claw his way to me, he breaks the ice underneath my feet. Now we're both in, and the ice was not strong enough anywhere to support us climbing out. So we broke the ice right until we got to the edge of the pond and crawled out. And then we still had to run back to my house. So I was literally freezing up like the T-1000. Like, I was wearing jeans, and they all turned all glittery and crunchy. Like, the fabric was freezing as I was running. So it was just like crunch, 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 crunch. And I think at that point, my adrenaline was so high, being that I fell through a frozen fucking lake and didn't die and had to get home, that I probably didn't feel it as much as I should have. But I don't know. Somebody on Instagram on the video of me doing the cold plunge was like, I think you guys found your Oscar punishment for next year. Do a minute on video in a cold plunge.
Oh. Okay. I mean, I prefer that than sourcing other punishments or letting one of you two fuckers come up with something.
Yeah, the loser has to chew on Shuddy's cum sock. All right, yeah, I'll take the cold plunge.
Yeah, or the loser gets pegged. What do you want to do? Cold plunge or possible pegging? Jesus Christ.
I mean, we do have a current contest going on that we could use the cold plunge as a punishment for.
Oh, are you talking about NFL? Pick them.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. Do you see how we did that? So we were so in tune there.
That's what you call 14 years of synergy.
Week 8 of the NFL wrapped up, and for the first time in this season, there is no winner nor loser. We all managed to secure a 3-3 record.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for the first time in the season, there's a new person in first place.
No.
I got scared a
so
little
there's
bit.
been no movement in the overall standings because we all managed to get 50% of our picks right. Because of the egregious... Wait, did I fuck this up? Hold on. I might have fucked this up. Who won the Vikings-Rams game? The Rams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't fuck this up. I don't know why I just doubted myself. Geoff is the only one who picked the Rams. So Geoff got the W there.
Oh, wait. So, wait, do we all still remain 3-3?
Yeah. Yes.
Damn it.
We all picked the Ravens to beat the Browns. You two idiots picked the Bungholes to beat the Spread Eagles.
You got lucky.
Phenomenal game out of the Eagles. Best of the season.
Absolutely.
Great.
You know, I was not happy with the first half. The third quarter was a little bit also left something to be desired. By the fourth quarter, I was like, all right, we got this. I can relax. Kevin is the only one who picked the Texans to beat the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
All three of us picked the Chicago Bears, who ended up losing to the Washington Commanders in a stunning Hail Mary at the end.
I was 4-1 last week. That was my only loss. It was fucking brutal. I recorded the Outkick Bets podcast for week 9 before we connected for MSPH, and I talked about this. You guys are familiar, I believe, with my 5 and Stogie ritual, where I smoke a cigar anytime I go 5-0 in the NFL contest, or if I hit a golf betting outright. I'll make little mama a piece of bacon, then we'll take a long walk and I'll smoke a cigar.
Hey, where's my tracksuit smoking cigar?
Oh yeah, I get in my tracksuit. Well, I haven't been able to do this since getting a tracksuit, but I will be getting in my tracksuit and going to smoke a cigar. And I had the cigar ready. I fucking had it ready.
Did you clip it? Did you clip the?
No.
Okay, so you weren't that close. I
wasn't that close, and I told where I was hanging out with Brendan, fan of the podcast, former host of the Black and Irish podcast. Kevin's hung out with him at least once, maybe a couple times. Anyways,
Cheech puked
he was
in his
over.
Car.
Yeah, Cheech puked in his car. He was over, and even though the Commanders didn't take the lead or didn't win the game until the very last second, I did not count my chickens before the eggs hatched. I did. I was ready to smoke the cigar, but I was nervous that something bad could happen, and that was one of the worst beats I've ever taken. It was brutal. Kevin, you don't know anything about what happened, but the Commanders won on a 65-yard Hail Mary as time expired. The ball got just tipped in the air and fell into this guy's hands. It was fucking brutal.
It is
It's like in Hot
It
Tub
is-
Time Machine when he makes that bet, like, if these guys don't win, I will suck your dick. Because he's like from the future and knows how that game plays out, but then a squirrel that he puked on runs out into the game and messes up the last play. That's the only way I can relate to that story, Geoff.
That works. Yeah, that's fine.
It's a play that fails way more than it ever succeeds. Like that Hail
Yeah,
Mary, you almost never. They only work when something nonsensical happens, like this.
Yeah, it's rare where a receiver catches it in the air without it getting bobbled. These things happen like probably once every 2 or 3 years, Kevin.
Oh my god!
If that, honestly.
And that's what fucked up your cigar smoking tracksuit, Lil Mama bacon orgy.
Yeah, it was like a $3,000 swing for me personally too. It was brutal.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah. I was fucking pissed.
Damn. Well, my condolences, Geoff. All right, so
Anyways.
And then Geoff and I both correctly chose the 69ers to beat the pussy ass Cowboys.
boo.
So 3-3. The overall records: Kevin 26-22, Shuddy 25-23, Geoff 21-27.
Shuddy,
Oh my god!
you're uncomfortably close to me. Just do something really stupid this week.
So
Well-
what am I 4 games behind Kevin? 5.
5 games behind Kevin.
Not good.
There's still several weeks left, but
Don't
you're
feel bad,
getting to
Geoff.
the point where you need to step on the gas a little bit.
Don't feel bad. I am a sports ball genius.
Well, let's put that genius to work, Kevin.
Shall we?
This week, starting with tomorrow night's game, do the Houston Texans beat the New York Jets, or do the Jets come away with a rare victory?
No, the Texans will beat them.
Geoff?
Texans, Jets. I'll go Texans.
As will I. This game should have been kicked off of Thursday night.
Yeah, it's tough to flex those Thursday night games out.
Yeah, put that shit
I
on
mean, it's
Wednesday.
interesting. You got Aaron Rodgers and CJ Stroud's one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL.
Aaron Rodgers, I think, is cooked.
Yep.
The Los Angeles Chargers versus your guys' pick to win the Super Bowl. the
Chargers.
Cleveland Brown Eyes.
Chargers.
Geoff.
I'll go with the Browns.
Geoff, really? I'm taking the Chargers. Oh, Geoff.
Hey,
Washington
fortune
Commanders
favors.
Jeff.
Fortune favors the
Against-
bold.
against the New York Giants.
Wait, who's
I'm taking the Commanders over the Giants.
Yeah.
Geoff?
I'll take the Giants.
I feel like I didn't give the Click Commanders their proper due last week, and I suffered for it. So I'm going to take the Click Commanders as well.
All right. Then in one of 2 toss-up games this week, the Denver Broncos versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Kevin, you go first.
Ravens. I think they're heavily associated with Edgar Allan Poe. It's Halloween this week. I think we're going to see a nice little spooky miracle, courtesy of Edgar Allan Poe.
I mean, it was retarded how you got there, but I agree with your pick. Totally. I was really hoping you were going to go Broncos. I mean,
I'm taking the Ravens also.
who wins in a fight, Kevin? A raven or a fucking horse?
I mean, a horse can't really jump up to get a raven when it's in flight, and a raven could, in
But it has to
theory,
meet the horse at its level.
but it could like find its blind spot, swoop down, eat an eye, go back up into the sky, find the other blind spot, eat the other eyeball. Now you got a blind horse, and I feel like a raven could like really swoop down and like eat the bungus, not in like a fun way, like a ew, 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 but actually pick and peck the butthole meat off of this horse. Then all of its poo and organs fall out of its ass, and you've got a raven KO via fatality.
All right, well, I'm going to zag. I was going to take the Ravens, but I'm going to take the Broncos.
You pussy.
Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers.
You can say fudge packers. If you... That's not a slang against gay people, because if you have sex with a woman's butt, you are also packing fudge. So straight people do it. You can be the three of us could be fudge packers. Right? We're not using it in a homophobic way.
I'll take the fudge packers.
I'm going to take the Lions, Kevin.
You know what? I feel like I've already paid dearly for just assuming that the Lions still play like they did when I lived in Weehawken, when my old roommate was constantly bitching about them because they were his favorite team. So I'm going to not make that mistake again, and I will take the Lions this time.
Okay.
They are considered to be the best team in the NFL right now, according to the NFL power betting market.
Oh, my goodness. I got to reach out to K-Mac, give him some props.
And since we are recording on Tuesday next week, we are going to not skip the Monday night games for the third week in a row. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Sadly, I'm taking the Chiefs.
I'm going to take the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, well, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Poimp, poimp, poimp. Always bet on Queef. I live by
there
my
we
life
have
by
it.
that. There you go.
Pick them for the week is over.
Pick them is in the books. Gentlemen, I have some good news for you regarding a movie franchise, which I believe we are all fond of. I think one of the last films I saw in theater before COVID shut everything down was Bad Boys for Life with Geoff. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
And I did not really like that. So when they made
that was terrible.
This new Bad Boys, the trailer didn't really move the needle. I had a little bit of PTSD from the third installment, so I didn't bother watching it. But when I fly, I like to just go on streaming services on the MSPH iPad and download movies and make my own selections rather than just seeing what they're showing on the plane. So I was like, all right, I'll be on a plane. I can't walk out. I'll download the fourth Bad Boys movie because it just went on Netflix. And I am pleasantly surprised to report that it was fucking sick.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit. You know how much I love Will Smith.
I mean, it was awesome. It felt like, like they hadn't really missed a beat. Martin Lawrence was funny as fuck. And at first, Carl was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap. If you're putting on Bad Boys, I'm going to take a nap. She's never seen any of them. So she took a short nap and then woke up when I was like 30 minutes into the movie, and I was like laughing my ass off. She like tapped me on the shoulder, and I'm like, hey, now that you're up, you want one of my AirPods? And she's like, all right, fine. And she was into it immediately. Like, she liked it so much that when we landed and got back to my mom's house and everybody went to bed, we watched Bad Boys 1, which is also on Netflix, because she had never seen, any of them. But
did she dig it?
yeah.
Tay Leone was hot in that one, huh?
Oh, my God.
So you're saying skip the third one, but watch the fourth?
I mean, there is some stuff that gets introduced that's still... There's two really big things that happen in the third one that continue on to the fourth.
So
but I feel
the
like
third has to be watched.
I mean, they You could. I'm sure if you watch the fourth one, you could fill in the blanks. But yeah, Bad Boys Ride or Die. Man, they got to get better at naming these things. But I think they really pulled the nose up. Action was really fun. The banter between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence was really good. It was good shit. It was really good shit. I like the plot. It was way funnier than the third one. And it even got Carl hooked, who went into it with, holding her nose and being all icky poo-poo about it. Turned her around, made her a fan.
Is the third one the only one not on Netflix?
Maybe.
It's on Hulu.
They just... Wow. Yeah, we don't want that one.
we don't want to sully our fucking platform with that bullshit.
Yeah. But it was fucking good, man. If you're in the same boat as me and you were a little bummed out by the third one and use that as the basis for not watching the fourth one, definitely worth a watch on Netflix.
Speaking of black movie franchises,
yeah.
Did you guys see Scary Movie 6? They're going to do a sixth one.
That's where I thought he was going with it. When he was like,
oh no, but I did
some movie news for you.
I did see that the Wayans are returning to do another installment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think me and you saw Marlon Wayans do stand-up, right? Have you ever seen Marlon Wayans do stand-up?
I think so. Was that at the Comedy Store?
I think so. And he was like really fucking good. And he was like working on material too. And it was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, Scary Movie 1 and 2 are so fucking good. Like the second one is so much sillier, but like, I mean, who doesn't regularly quote, take my strong hand, child. Yeah. Tim Curry. I think someone gets like rolled up in a joint and smoked. Great way to kill somebody in a comedy horror movie. I like that, so I'm pumped. I'll check out Scary Movie 6 or 7 or whatever they're up to.
Also, a quick little wrap up of my Chicago trip, which finished this past weekend. I flew back to Long Beach on Saturday morning. Me and my lady, we spent Friday in Chicago. Went to this restaurant, Monteverde, which her and her mom just love. And it's super hard to get a reservation to. And she didn't think we were going to be able to get a reservation. But
oh, shit.
She got one the day before we were supposed to go to Chicago. It's like you would love it, Kevin. It's I think it's a pasta place. We got Cacio e Pepe. We got tagliatelle with bolognese. We got a sopressata meatball. I think that's how you pronounce it, which is like
sopressata.
Sopressata.
It's like gabagool. It's a little like gabagool-y, pepperoni-y.
Yeah,
I've had sopressata pizza before.
It was the best meatball I've ever had, and it was in red sauce, which was probably the best red sauce I've ever had.
No shit.
With all due respect to my mom, whose meatballs and marinara sauce was just fucking phenomenal, but this place was actually better. And then we for dinner we actually went to this place called Shanghai Terrace, and we got a Peking
Shanghai Terrorists?
Terrace.
Oh, okay.
And
man, what a fucking wild name for a restaurant.
Yeah, we got like a 3-protein fried rice.
Oh,
got
triple protein.
Some pork dumplings and a Peking duck.
Wait, let me ask you this. What were the 3 proteins in the fried rice?
I think it was chicken, shrimp, and Wagyu beef, if I can remember correctly.
Now, fried rice typically also has fried egg in it. So was there any egg particles making this a quadruple protein? Whoa!
Yeah, quad protein. It was awesome. There was actually a crumble right across the street from where we stayed.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to try that out, which was disappointing. But they are building a crumble in Long Beach, so
yeah, I think they've got one around here in Culver City too.
I'm looking forward to trying that place out. And then we went to the rooftop bar at the hotel we were staying at, the London House, which was fucking sick. We went to actually there's a cocktail bar below the rooftop that we went to watch the Yankees game one, the World Series, and it was like Halloween themed and had a DJ. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But Chicago, as you guys in the Puminati already know, is a wonderful town, a place that I just absolutely love. And every time I've been there, it's just been fucking sick. So
yeah, I gotta
this place
go.
is no different.
The only time
is no different.
The only time I've ever been to Chicago is just a layover, so I've never even left the airport, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I brought suppose I brought the good weather with me. It was like mid 60s and mid 70s the whole time I was there. It didn't rain at all. Actually, it rained at nighttime once, but didn't affect any of my plans.
It was beautiful in Jersey too.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice not having to fucking bundle up. But
I mean, there you go. There's one example of how your luck isn't always terrible. Good weather luck in New Jersey is hard to come by.
Yeah. I'll take global warming as a win for me.
But also, I will say, though, the highlight dish of my entire visit, I don't think I talked about in the last podcast, but my lady made coffee rubbed fillets with baked scallops.
Oh, my God.
And holy fucking shit, was this good.
Are you going to have to convince her to submit a audition for the next season of Crafter, Geoff? Well, Master Chef.
I think she could. I mean, she can cook to that kind of ability and execution. And she will put together like weekly menus for little hangouts. She's got some real kitchen talent.
Nice.
Yeah. So love Chicago. I'll be going back in the near future. I'll keep you guys posted on all that, but
fuck yeah.
Wonderful trip.
Did you guys catch anything in the theater other than John Cooper for you, Shuddy?
Nope, just John Cooper.
No new viewings?
The only movie I needed to see this week.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I haven't been able to get to the theater outside of like the film festival stuff in a minute. I'm trying to think like what's even coming out. Like I did see Smile 2, but as far as
you?
like I did, yeah.
Was it better than the first one?
I'd say it was on par. But I haven't seen, there's 2 superhero movies out that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the third Venom or Joker. I'm not particularly trying to rush out to see either of them. But Shuddy, I'm actually surprised you didn't go see that Transformers movie.
I've been considering it, but haven't really had anybody that's wanted to go see it. It's animated, so I'm not that big of a rush to see it, but I've heard it's awesome.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I saw like the reviews for it, and everybody's kind of like losing their shit. And I feel like your group in PA is very Transformers friendly. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait until it goes to streaming. But yeah, I'm looking at the AMC app, and I'm just like, man, what am I gonna go see? I got to see something this weekend. There is a new Michael Keaton movie out. Goodrich. I hadn't even heard of that. But I'm always down to watch a Michael Keaton movie.
Michael Keaton's a fucking icon.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, that's all I can really see. I guess everybody's kind of just like blowing their final Halloween load before November hits and everything kind of goes back to normal. Whew. Well, I think we did it, fellers. I think we made it to the finish line. But
fun podcast. It went by kind of fast, I thought.
It did. But hey, now that I'm back in LA, I'm back in shipping mode. So if you want to look at that gorgeous poster sitting behind Shuddy Boy. I mean, the John Cooper one is pretty cool too. But yeah, if you would like to get your hands on a Second Coming of John Cooper movie poster. And this is not like, me printing out a thing on like a big thick piece of fucking cardstock paper that's, 24 by 24. This is a legit movie poster. Went to like a real place that prints real movie posters for real filmmakers. So it's legit. This is not a Kevin Kraft poster. This is a real movie poster. And I'll sign it for you.
Doesn't come with a curse.
It does not. Nobody that bought one has been cursed. So don't let that sway you. But I got some more film festival prospects coming up in the future. And being that I was kind of trying to sell these to help cover the costs of entering them and flying to them when needed, and then my car took a fat shit in its pants and all the money had to go to that. I'm trying to rebuild the coffer. So if you haven't gotten a poster yet, there's still a few left. Just go to etsy.com/shop/John Cooper movie and pick one up, and I will send it out to you with love and care. And I may even fart in the tube if you're lucky. And let's see. What else? Oh, yeah. You can check out... Oh, yeah. Shuddy's got something.
I was just gonna say, don't you still have a cameo that they could also get from you to fill the coffers?
Sure. Yeah. $20. It's a... I'd say the price is right for that one. I don't think I'm out-kicking my coverage. And I try to give... when I do cameos, I try to make sure everybody gets their money's worth. I've done some impromptu Tard That Tunes. I've done some freestyles for people. I think I've only turned down one. And that was someone wanted me to do a cameo where I was like do a skit flirting with Ellis's ex-wife. And I was like, nah, sorry.
And listen, if you go to...
Gotta have a code somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
The holidays are coming, guys. The holidays are right around the corner. So
Coming.
for that poo connoisseur in your life, you can go over to imallgone.com and check out the MSPH merch store.
Oh.
And you can get yourself a poozie, a p-shirt, a pootie, also known as a hoodie, in many colors and varieties with the all-seeing poo logo.
Yeah, and all of the puns for the merch are just fucking like a glove, sliding right in. Nobody calls it a p-shirt. No one calls a hoodie a pootie.
And the Poo-Tang Clan shirts are also still available.
Nice.
Thank God.
Go get yourself some MSPH merch.
Dude. Poo-Tang Clan ain't nothing to queef with.
A possible teaser for the Patreon. I forgot to remind you, Shuddy, of a random brain question. Can we do that in the Patreon?
We can, because I can't explain it in the main show, so it's better to just do it all in the Patreon.
Patreon. And let's see. Don't forget, next week, Dustin Ibarra will be joining us. We'll do the show a day later than we used to. Doing a Tuesday show.
So we're going to do all of our predictions for the 2024 election. Live election coverage.
Yeah, from your most trusted source, MSPH. But don't forget, Dustin Ibarra's new film, Stealing Jokes, hits VOD November 1st.
Friday.
So check it out. Dustin will be on here next week telling us all about it. Very excited for him. And you can also follow us on Instagram. I'm at Kevin Kraft.
At Shuddy Boy.
Geoff Records.
And at MSPH Podcast. And at John Cooper Movie. If you wouldn't mind, please and thank you. And don't forget, if you want to see these episodes as opposed to only listening to them, you can go to youtube.com/Mad Scientist Party Hour. And hey, I know this show is about to wrap up, but we got more coming on our Patreon, patreon.com/Mad Scientist Party Hour. Geoff and I, yesterday, right when I got back from the airport, we banged out episode 40 of Dragon Ball Queef, where Geoff is forced to watch the first episode of an anime series, and then we come back and discuss it. And this week, staying in line with Halloween guidelines, we watched Uzumaki. So anybody who's familiar with anime or manga definitely knows what Uzumaki is, and you definitely want to hear Geoff's thoughts on it. So that's on the $10 tier. I mean, I even forgot to even point it out, but last week we did our 350th Patreon episode. Like, we've been doing so much Patreon content for so many years, and the entire back catalog is there. So if you feel like you missed out, you can check out all 4 seasons of Crafter Geoff Shuddy Edition, all 350 Patreon episodes, and then also on the $5 tier, if you search around and scroll back, every time we started a new show, we opened it up on the $5 tier as well, so you can hear the first ever, Queef or No Queef, Crafter Geoff, Dragon Ball Queef, first episodes are all up there too. So check it out. It helps us keep the lights on. Support the homies. Patreon.com/Mad Scientist Party Hour. Is there anything I'm fucking leaving out? I don't think so. I think we checked it off. We did it, friends. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. To the people joining us in Patreon land, we'll see you soon. But for everybody else, as always, until next time, whoa! Something!